Hi, I'm Tammy Beilstein. Welcome to Tammy's Window on Calaveras. I am so excited tonight. I have a lady on this show that I have been wanting to have on for years. Literally years. And I finally got her. This is Suzy Hopkins, and she is from Friends and Neighbors magazine, formerly known as Senior Friends and Neighbors magazine. We were just talking about that. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Oh my gosh, I am too. You are one of those people that knows everything and everyone that is worth knowing in Calaveras County. That is how I see you.
Oh.
Did you know that?
I don't think so, but I continue to learn the layout of Calaveras County. It takes a long time.
Oh my gosh. How long have you been in Calaveras?
Well, I'm in Tuolumne County, and I've been there for 30 years,
that's right.
and the magazine started there.
Okay.
So it has spread of its own accord since we started.
So you are now from Tuolumne, Calaveras, and
Amador, and a bit of Alpine, Mariposa, down into Oakdale a bit in terms of our distribution sites.
Wow.
And that's where we reach. We
That's
reach people across
incredible.
those areas.
How many magazines do you print each month to cover all that area?
We are a quarterly full-color magazine, and we do 20,000 copies every 3 months. We're on deadline with the summer issue right now. We'll go to press in about 10 days.
Oh my God.
And we have 750 distribution sites, many of them in office or in retail locations. We have outdoor distribution boxes, but 750 individual sites that we leave it at.
That is incredible. How many people does it take to distribute to 750 outlets?
Takes about 5.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, what if I give that person some of my brochures I'm supposed to hand out? Would they do that?
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Just a few
Yeah,
bucks?
just throw them in the car.
Since they're going there anyway.
Yeah.
I've seen your magazines in the doctor's offices. That's where I used to see them when I first started noticing it. And seriously, I would go in the office for my whatever appointment. There'd be a stack of them. I'd come out of my appointment, and half the stack is gone. It must have been a recent delivery or something. Everybody takes those magazines.
It happens, and it's taken a long time to get to that point. And we keep these big outdoor magazine boxes at shopping centers filled because they do disappear from the in retail locations like doctors' offices. They're gone, and then people say, "Well, you must not have distributed." Well, we did, but they didn't. Yeah.
They just fly out of there.
Yeah.
What made you want to do a magazine like this?
Well, I'm a journalist by trade. I have a degree in journalism, and I plan to work at some small papers. I've worked at 4 Northern California papers, and I ended up in Sonora working for the Union Democrat, and then planned to be out of there in 2 years and go to the LA Times and rocket to stardom. And I met and married their senior reporter. We proceeded to have 3 children. So my husband is Chris Bateman, who's a longtime journalist who has since retired after 40 years with the paper.
Well, not really retired, because I see him all over the place working with the
Say he might like to be retired,
Right.
yeah. But he now writes and edits with me and is a partner in helping with this now.
That is awesome. That's awesome. So you guys, every time I see your paper, it seems like there's a different, not your paper, your magazine, a different theme to every issue. Is that right? Or is it just the main story that I see on the cover? I don't know, it seems to me like
it's not. I put together issues based on the stories that are developing at the time, and we have we have a 5-person staff, five part-time employees.
Wow.
I'm full-time, and we have a number of freelancers, and everyone has been a professional journalist. Mm-hmm. So the stories we develop based on, sometimes it's seasonal. We did a major thing on the fire service, Cal Fire, last summer, just prior to the Butte, because it felt like it was going to be just a terrible year. We have more coverage in this upcoming issue because it feels, with the tree die-off, like it's an especially terrible time here for the fire hazard. And we find people, this is our spring issue, which is just coming to a close. This gentleman, we went to Railtown and met him on a train, and he's a longtime rail engineer that happens to be a real dedicated volunteer. And the stories I like are the ones about people that are very, very passionate about whatever it is they do. Yeah. And I really don't know until we develop the stories and see how they come together in a given issue. And it's not typically thematic. It's typically a collection of what interests me and I think is worthy at the time that we're putting the issue out.
You know what I might be thinking of is it must have been your last issue then that was about the fire and people who had lost their homes and that sort of thing. Oh my gosh, that was incredible. I actually saved it and left it open to the pages with the fire story for my kids to see it because neither one of them were home when that fire started, and I wanted them to see the.
See what happened. It was one couple's story about their loss, but it represented many people.
Yeah.
But actually, that story was a latecomer. We had I had prepared this issue at some length. It was the winter 2015 issue, and it was about people who had survived incredibly difficult things in their life and how they had gone on and carried on with their life. And some people, one gentleman was a prisoner of war for years. One woman escaped Nazi Germany as a teenager. Just a number of stories with the idea that you can learn from what the hardship somebody has dealt with, and when people are going through difficult times now, they can see someone else's story and be inspired by it.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It was so inspiring, and it was so well done.
Oh, thank you.
Everything you do.
Thank you.
You know, this might sound like a silly thing, but I love the feel of the paper that you used. Everything about your magazine is so well done.
And so the reason it feels good is because my mother-in-law, who's since passed away, was about 90 when I started the magazine, and I said, I'm thinking of doing a senior newspaper. What do you think, newspaper or magazine? And she said, I just hate the way the newspaper smudges my fingers. So as a consequence, we have an expensive full-color glossy magazine because she didn't want her fingers smudged.
I am so glad that she didn't like newspaper smudge because I don't like it either, and I love this.
And it's like it stays, and people keep it and refer back to it, so the quality is really a part of that.
Oh, I totally agree. It's so nice. You have regular articles that are in here. Like, is it a veterans article that you have?
We try to do one. When I started the magazine, I made up a list. I really knew nothing about magazines whatsoever, and now I'm glad that I did a magazine because people really emotionally connect to it in a different way. But I didn't know that. I just, it was a whimsical thing really to start a magazine in a way. And I wanted to do veteran stories because there's a very high number of veterans up here, and I was aware that the World War II veterans were dying. And so I wanted to do a World War II story each issue in order to capture some of that history. And so we continue to do that, but many of the veterans have left us already. So we're still doing that.
I love that. Did you have another project that you're doing with veterans in mind?
Well, as part of an outgrowth from the desire to capture the veteran stories, I hired someone whose name was Deanna Moore, who was with the Arts Council in Tuolumne County. She was a personal historian, and I hired her to write one veteran story, and she became so enamored. We published it. It was a great story, and she was so enamored of the idea of capturing these stories that she thought we should do a Tuolumne Veterans History Project capturing every World War II veteran story in the community.
Everyone.
Everyone that would agree and was still around to tell and would be willing to sit with volunteers for many hours to record their memoirs.
Wow.
So that project,
gives me goosebumps.
It's been the most fascinating thing. So that project I've been involved in since Deanna came up with the idea, and we've done 60 veteran stories that are now online, and it's a separate nonprofit, but it's headquartered at the magazine because I'm deeply involved in it. But it's called memoircenter.com. Memoircenter.com. And you'll find on that 60 stories of Tuolumne County veterans, but they're really very representative of all the veterans that served in World War II, and very detailed histories because we have about 20 volunteers that have given, in some cases, they've done 8 or 9 of these memoirs, which take between 40 and 80 hours apiece to produce.
Wow.
So
That's so neat. That makes me want to tear up. I love stuff like
when
that.
you read the stories, you just, we talk to people in their 90s that have had nightmares since they were 20 years old. I continue to talk to people like that because they've what they witnessed in combat. So we're honoring that by preparing books that we give to each family. And Sonora Area Foundation has helped us with funding for the printing, but everything else is volunteer. So we design the books in-house, and each veteran gets 3 copies. But the long-lasting record is online at thememoircenter.com because people all around the world look at the website.
Oh, God.
So
it must make the veterans feel so good. For one thing, to get their story out there and get it off their chest, but also to know that people who they've never met really care.
In a lot of cases,
care
they just can't believe it.
Yeah.
In many cases, they, especially if they had substantial PTSD, they were told, go stay away from people for a year, and then maybe you'll get better, and then go resume life and pretend this.
Really?
Yeah, that's happened. And we've talked to many people that have just suffered, and you think to yourself, I just don't think people should have to carry that kind of a burden.
Yeah.
And for that many decades.
Yeah.
And in one case, the most heart-rending moment was I was with one of the volunteers who had just completed a series of interviews, and the caregiver for this very elderly veteran said, "Thank you," because he's no longer having the nightmares. And that's awesome. You just can't believe that telling your story can have that cathartic effect. And it's not a cure-all, but it's very, very useful for people, whether they're veterans or not, to share their personal history with someone who's a very empathetic listener.
Yep, knowing that you're not being judged and someone is...
Correct.
Yeah, actually cares about what you're saying, cares about you.
Right, and
That's
it's a
awesome.
Remarkable record of history, so a lot of the stories we do in the magazine, we're able to spend the time with very elderly individuals to capture a bit of history, and that's what excites me about it. Really.
As you were talking, I was thinking, I love this idea so much, and it might be partly because my grandpa, my mom's dad, was in World War II. All I know is that he was in Burma. He never spoke about it. I don't know anything. None of us do, not even my mom.
Very common.
Knows nothing about what he did there, what it was like for him. And he's
common.
gone now. And so his story died with him. And that breaks my heart.
My father was an Air Force career navigator who bombed Germany and never learned the story. He died without ever having left
that's so sad.
a detail of that.
Do you have plans? You're saying that's in Tuolumne. Do you have plans to do that in Calaveras? I'm hoping you do.
No, what our offer would be, all our volunteers were exhausted by this. It's a very labor-intensive process, and if someone wanted to come forward, we would help them with the template that we have, and we can train them and would love to do that. The fact is, these veterans are leaving fairly quickly now. And so there's not a lot of time to save these stories.
And like with my grandpa and your father, when they're gone, all their stories are gone with them. Their memories are gone.
It's gone. And that's part of the, I think what people relate to in the magazine is really hearing the stories, whether somebody is 60 years old sharing their experiences or 90. People really enjoy getting the kind of detail about how someone looks back on their life and what they're passionate about.
You cover such important things in here. And also fun things. There are fun things in here. Events that people can attend, and you help out all of us, I think, like our hospice nonprofits, by posting dates of trainings or volunteer opportunities. You put so much in here to help all of us who are trying to help other people.
Oh, and and really when I started the magazine, I felt that there were all these agencies. I was a newspaper journalist, then I wrote memoirs, and I also did freelance work for local nonprofits, and I felt like there needed to be a mechanism for sharing all the expertise that those agencies have in-house. And this, by making this free, and we're paid for by advertising as our sole source of revenue, but by making it free, that's how this has managed to spread across the region. Because people grab it and share it, and they keep it on hand for referring to events and classes and things like that.
And what, how do I say this in a nice way? Even if someone had I was going to say butt ugly, if someone had a horrible looking ad, on this paper with this full color, everything looks good. Everything looks good in here. It's beautiful.
And it's very fun as a former newspaper person to work with color and to work with great photography is very exciting.
Yeah. I mean, there are photos in here where with a lot of people in them. Even the faces are sort of small. It's just so clear. Different than what you would get from a newspaper.
Yeah, and we have just a great crew of people that our photographer, for example, our main photographer is also his primary job is National Geographic, so we're so fortunate to have that kind of talent.
Oh my gosh!
So
I don't think I have even one single piece of advice for you because you know what you're doing. You've got this down.
We always welcome. A lot of people do give us story ideas, and we always ask for that. So if people have ideas, we just love hearing about special people. If someone calls and says, you should do a story about me, I never am inclined to. But if they say, my neighbor has a real special story, that's who we want to interview. Often it's people that never would be in print. Yeah. Their story would not be told. And those are the stories that are typically very, very interesting to me.
Yes, I think so too. I think about some of our hospice patients. Mm-hmm. Every single person, even if they seem like they are just so quiet, had a perfect little life and no real issues, everybody has a story. Many stories.
Right. You could do this anywhere. Yeah. And it's just the time devoted and having a skilled interviewer.
Yeah. Oh, that's so neat. So I don't want to run out. Oh, before I forget, how do people contact you if they want, if they have an idea for your magazine?
My email is editor@seniorfan.com, and we have a large website with all our past stories on it, plus events listings. So editor@seniorfan.com or 536-1755 is our phone number. And we have an office in Sonora, and so I'd love to hear from people.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm looking at these things in front of me also. This is exciting. I have heard about the expo in the past. It's different this year.
It's different.
It's different. You are a big part of it this year.
And that's new. So the Tuolumne County Commission on Aging has, for several years, I think about 6 or 7 years, put on what was called the Senior Expo. Mm-hmm. And this year, it came as a surprise. They came and said, would you be willing to lend your name to it? And they said there's no work required on your part. We just people understand what Friends and Neighbors is. Mm-hmm. We've been in business for 8 years. And would you be willing to have it be the Friends and Neighbors Expo? So I thought about it and then got excited about it, and so then started to get involved. They wanted to bring a new energy to it because the word senior is no longer in vogue. Even if you're 90, you're not inclined to want to call yourself a senior. So Friends and Neighbors Expo is just a kind of a revamped senior expo and really aimed at people 50 plus. And lots of people.
That includes me. Here, I should show this. This is what this looks like.
And that's on June 8th at the Motherlode Fairgrounds from noon to 7. And it's a commission event, and we're lending a hand with ideas, including we just had some ideas to share connection hotspots so that people that are new to the area can walk in and see places they might sign up for activities or events. We're doing some things for singles that hasn't been done before.
That's what this is about, right? I don't know if you guys can see this. Speed dating?
Speed
dating for singles 50 and over.
So this is just one of the I call it the hottest hotspot at the expo. And I have a girlfriend who was widowed at a young age. She's 55 years old. And I got this idea because she said, I don't want to internet date, but I would do something in person. What about speed dating? And I really threw it out on a lark. She liked the idea and said she would go. So then I go, well, let's do speed dating at the expo because if nothing else, it will get people talking. However, we have sign-ups. People seem to be kind of excited about it. So I hope we have enough signups to make it a go.
Yeah.
And basically, we'll do it on stage at 5:30 at the expo. People sign up in advance by calling our office. And it'll just be a fun, my husband, Chris Bateman, is the MC, and it's just going to be a fun way to connect, because people, whether you're 50 or 80, it's very hard to meet somebody in a rural area if you're not connected through a church group or another social group, and maybe you're not even sure what social groups are there. The expo is really a great connector for that. So it's there's about 50 organizations that are going to have booths in the at the fairgrounds. Okay. So you'll be able to walk in, and really our focus this year is on getting connected, and that's either with information or social opportunities or educational opportunities.
Perfect. Does it cost anything to do the speed dating, and does it cost anything to enter the fair?
The expo is free and lots of information, and there will be food available for a very nominal amount. Okay. And speed dating is a $10 donation to Meals on Wheels, but you get a $5 coffee card in return to go have a coffee date.
What a deal.
It's a deal.
How speedy is that speed dating? I'm thinking of my husband's parents. They're still married. They're together. They wouldn't be doing the speed dating, but they're 90 and 91. They do not move speedy. It would be like 5 minutes to get from one table to another.
I think it's unlikely we'll have the 90-year-olds. We're more likely the 50s and 60s and 70s. And how we're going to do it is we'll have 20 men and 20 women given enough sign-ups. And the women will stay seated in a circle on stage, and then the men will rotate at bell. So you get basically 2 minutes apiece to chat, and then you move on. And then we've got we call them speeding tickets, where you'll get a little thing to mark yes or no that you'd like to be connected. And everything's handled very privately, so we'll send emails later if people say, yes, I'd like to connect with that person. So it'll be a classy event, and the trick is getting people to sign up, but we promise it will be fun.
Is there any sort of background check or anything?
We're taking all the information in office, and so we're going to check IDs against the names and addresses that are given, and that's the extent.
Okay. Oh, that is such a neat idea. Now, since it's in Tuolumne, should Calaveras agencies even not bother, but spend the time to go and have a booth there?
Well, there's a lot of cross-county connection. If your agency deals with people in your business and world that are from throughout Tuolumne County, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, and we've got a lot of information for caregivers. Fitness. We're going to have fitness demonstrations, so it'll be kind of a combination of fun and information.
That's right. Because it seems like when I did the older version of the event, that there were other people there, agencies from Calaveras, and it seemed like we recognized quite a few of the attendees as coming from Calaveras to this event. There's nothing else happening like that around here that I know of?
Well, it'll be just a lot of information in one place. So,
about how many people are you expecting to attend?
Hundreds. I don't know how many hundreds attend. We've changed the hours this year to go from noon to 7 so that people can get off work.
I love that.
And that's new. So the Commission on Aging is a wonderful group of very energized people that realize they want to really get the information out to families in addition to seniors. So a lot of people caring for their parents that need the information. So you're really talking people in their 40s and 50s that are in that position. So this is meant to address a lot of those information needs.
A few different generations of families should be attending these.
That's right. And our mission, the way I see the mission with the magazine, is to really connect people with information, and so it's a perfect match with the expo. But it was their idea, so I'm thrilled to be part of it.
I think it's awesome. Oh, did I see somewhere they were going to have speakers? Guest speakers at the...
No guest speakers, no. We'll have some...
I must be thinking of something else, sorry.
Yeah, they've done it. They've tried different things in the past, but this will really be about about four dozen booths with information, and then the connection hotspots that people can sign up for activities. For example, the local theaters are putting on special singles nights that you'll be able to sign up for there. So it's kind of a tie-in to, and those events will happen later. But you're talking this has not Tuolumne County hasn't seen anything like this, and it's really
No.
meeting a need, because people that are calling and signing up are saying it's very hard to find people for companionship here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's
So and those will be marked by red balloons. So you'll walk into the expo.
Oh, that's the red balloons.
That's
Okay.
the red balloons. So those are the connection hot spots. And when you walk in, we'll be handing out sheets that say, if you're new to the area, go to the newcomers booth. If you're single and 50 plus, sign up for speed dating. So we'll have all this listing of Road Scholars having a booth, which is an educational nonprofit travel company. So just all these opportunities.
Road Scholars. That's cute.
Road Scholar, yeah. And just to connect in a way that you might not have thought of. So you may come away with the ability to go on to a new activity that you might not have thought of.
I love that. So many people, like I was saying earlier, I'll be 51 in August. So I already know that I am somebody who gets set in my ways. I think I know what I like to do, and I'm not one who goes and, I don't know, just goes to try something else. I like to know what I'm doing and all of that. But it would take something like this for me to see something and maybe catch my attention and give me the guts to maybe give it a try, because I'll get to meet face to face. But the people who are running it, doing it, I'd feel more comfortable that way to maybe try something new.
Right.
That's neat.
Right.
I love it. I'm so glad that they approached you to do this. Good, smart move on their part.
Unexpected but fun. It's fun to think of it's just doing a continuation of what the magazine's trying to do to begin with. So we're very excited about it.
Awesome.
And I hope we get a great turnout. It's free, and you'll come away with an awful lot of information. So
I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that our hospice gets a booth there, because I would love that. And I'd love to
that would be great.
Yeah, just be a part of it.
And the booths are free to nonprofits.
Okay.
And you can sign up. You can either contact us at the magazine, but the primary is coasenior.com.
Right.
And that's the Tuolumne County Commission on Aging.
Okay.
And there are still booths available, but it's filling up fast.
Okay, and it says there is free transportation if it's needed.
There is free transportation by calling 532-0404.
Very good.
And that's the Tuolumne County Transit.
That's perfect. How do you remember all that?
I've been typing this for a while.
Good job.
Yeah.
This is great. So, gosh, we have like 2 minutes left. Is there anything else that we need to cover? I want to make sure that everybody picks up your magazines. Do you need any raffle prizes for your event? Is there anything that the community can do to help you?
Well, turning out to the event and speed dating will be a lot more fun if we fill out the 2020, the 20 men and 20 women.
Are you finding that more women are signing up than men?
It's very funny. People said, "Oh, you're going to get all men and you're going to get all women and no men." So far, the women are outpacing the men. So
get on the ball, men.
Get on the ball, single men 50 plus. And I will say that our summer issue comes out right after the expo.
Okay.
And it comes out in mid-June. We'll start distributing, and it's got a very interesting fire safety section, which I'm really has emergency numbers, but some other information that I just found fascinating. And we also have a veteran story that's fascinating, and so I hope people will enjoy it.
Perfect timing. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Tammy. It was fun.
Awesome. And thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you next time on Tammy's Window on Calaveras.